Imagine this. You're on a normal flight, ready to land safely, when suddenly, everything changes. The plane is no longer under control, and you realize you're being hijacked. Fear takes over. What do? Well, that's exactly what happened in Hijack 1971, a gripping, true story-based Korean movie that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Hi everyone, I'm Heidi Hanna, and this is Cinemalyzer, your go-to channel for movie breakdowns that feel like front-page news. If you're short on time, but still want to know the full story, you're in the right place. Today, I'll be breaking down Hijack 1971, a Korean movie in detail. I'll take you through every twist, every secret, and every heart-stopping moment of Hijack 1971. Let's get straight to the headlines. Before we start, just a quick heads up, this recap will have major spoilers. If you're planning to watch the movie and don't want anything ruined, you might want to come back later. Otherwise, let's get right into it. This film is based on Korea's first ever airplane hijacking in 1971, a true story buried for decades. The movie was directed by the director, Kim Seong-han, and the movie was initial release in June 2024. Next, let's meet the main actors. 1. Mr. Ha Jung-woo, played as Tae-in, the first officer. 2. Mr. Yo Jin-gu, played as Yongdae, the hijacker. 3. Mr. Sung Dong-tu, played as Kyu-sik, the captain. And 4. Ms. Chae Soo-bin, played as Oh K-soon, a flight attendant. It's 1971. A normal domestic flight is set to travel from Sokcho to Seoul's Gimpo Airport. The plane is filled with regular passengers, business travelers, families, and students. Everything seems normal. As the plane reaches cruising altitude, the passengers are relaxed. Some are reading newspapers, others are chatting. But then, boom, a sudden explosion shakes the entire aircraft. The captain is injured, and panic spreads like wildfire. In the midst of the chaos, flight attendants rush to assist the injured. The plane is still airborne, but the atmosphere inside has changed dramatically. Fear grips the passengers as they try to understand what just happened. Then, a chilling voice rises above the noise. A young man coming from behind, and he stomped on a passenger on the floor. It's Yongdae, the hijacker. He pulls out a weapon, and it is the detonator. "Change the course, we're heading north," he shouts at Tae-in. At first, Tae-in refuses. But then, Yongdae holds something even more terrifying, a detonator. The passengers are his hostages. If Tae-in doesn't listen, the entire plane could go down in flames. Tae-in has no choice. He obeys. The plane slowly starts veering off course, heading toward North Korea. Back in the cabin, Lee Ok-soon is trying to keep everyone calm, but fear spreads fast. Passengers whisper, "Are we being hijacked? What's happening?" Meanwhile, inside the cabin, tension runs high among the restless passengers. Among them is a bald man who, determined to take action, turns to the passenger beside him, urging him to help overpower the hijacker. His request is met with hesitation and refusal. However, a passenger seated behind him steps forward, willing to join the fight. As the plane nears North Korean airspace, Tae-in, sensing the gravity of their situation, asks Ok-soon to destroy all passengers' IDs. The fear is palpable. They may never make it back. As the hijacker walks toward the front of the airplane, the plane suddenly hits turbulence. Seizing the moment, the bald man grabs the hijacker's hand and struggles to wrestle the knife away. The struggle continues until the plane finally exits the turbulence. At that moment, the hijacker manages to regain control, picks up a gun, and aims it directly at the bald man. Just like that, the fight comes to an abrupt end. As the plane enters North Korean airspace, the captain announces to the passengers, urging them to destroy their IDs, especially those belonging to soldiers, police officers, civil servants, and engineers. Meanwhile, in the cockpit, Tae-in is thinking fast. He knows that once they cross into North Korean airspace, there may be no way back. Acting quickly, he flips a switch to trigger a low fuel warning. The captain, Kyu-sik, immediately instructs Tae-in to prepare for an emergency landing. Without hesitation, Yong-dae strikes Gusik with his gun and sneers. Trying to fool me again? Tae-in insists they've entered North Korean airspace, but Yong-dae remains doubtful. Suspicious, he glances out the nearest window to confirm. Moments later, he realizes that Tae-in has deceived him. Enraged, he pulls the safety pin from the detonator and forces a terrified passenger to hold on to it. Then, dragging the man with the live detonator, he storms into the flight deck to confront Tae-in. Just minutes away from the North Korean border, the tension reaches its peak. South Korean fighter jets are now right outside the aircraft. They send a final warning: turn around, or we will take you down. The tension inside the aircraft is rising. Fighter pilot Dong Cheol manages to contact Tae-in, who urgently tells him not to shoot down the plane. However, Dong Cheol insists he has no choice. This situation is different from before. A squad of North Korean MiGs is approaching, and if the plane crosses the border, it could start a war. Suddenly, gunfire erupts from the fighter jet, and a bullet strikes the plane. As the chase continues, one of the fighter pilots spots the approaching North Korean squad and urges immediate action to shoot down the passenger plane. Fighter pilot Dong Cheol informs Tae-in that they have orders to shoot the plane down unless it lands on the nearest beach immediately. Hearing this, Yong-dae points his gun at Captain Dong-il and demands they continue toward North Korea. With the passenger plane just 7 miles from the North Korean border, a final warning is issued before it is shot down. As Fighter Jet 1 moves into position to open fire, Fighter Jet 2 suddenly intervenes, positioning itself between them. The pilot urgently requests the shoot-down order to be withdrawn, explaining that the plane has been hijacked. With only a few miles left, Tae-in tells Yong-dae to shoot him. Then, in a sudden move, he yanks the control wheel back, causing the plane to climb sharply at a 90-degree angle. Chaos erupts inside as everything is thrown around. Just meters from the North Korean border, the plane successfully veers away. Refusing to give up, Yong-dae tries to crawl back to the flight deck. Noticing this, Tae-in quickly tilts the plane, sending Yong-dae crashing to the floor. Just as things seem under control, Tae-in unbuckles and stands to confront him. However, the fight takes a turn when Yong-dae manages to stab Tae-in in the thigh. As Yong-dae prepares to stab Tae-in, a sudden gunshot rings out. It's Chang-bae, firing a warning shot. Startled, Yong-dae turns and pulls the detonator's safety pin. Before he can act, Chang-bae fires again, hitting him in the abdomen. Staggering forward with the detonator still in hand, Yong-dae tries to reach Tae-in, but Chang-bae fires several more shots, sending him collapsing to the floor. Yong-dae collapses, lifeless. The detonator rolls across the floor, sending the passengers into a panic. Without hesitation, Tae-in lunges to shield it. Moments later, boom! The explosion erupts, leaving Tae-in covered in blood. Critically injured, Tae-in still manages to reach the flight deck. As they prepare to land, a problem arises. The landing gear won't deploy. With help from the passengers, they manually release the front wheel. Eventually, they succeed. The plane makes a rough but safe landing at the beach. After landing, Oksun and Chang-bae help the passengers to safety, including the chicken. Tae-in takes one last glance at them before collapsing. That's it, folks. Hijack 1971 is not just about action, it is based on a real story. It's a powerful story about courage, quick thinking, and the will to survive. It reminds us that in the face of danger, heroes can come from the most unexpected places. Before wrapping up, I'd like to share the real story behind this incident. On January 23, 1971, Korean Air F-27 crash-landed on Chodo Beach in Kosung. All 58 passengers and crew survived, but tragically, 2 lives were lost. The 22-year-old hijacker and the co-pilot, who sacrificed himself by throwing himself onto the bomb. Despite his injuries, lead pilot Lee Kong-hun managed to execute an emergency landing, a feat considered unprecedented in commercial aviation history. So, after watching this movie recap, how do you feel? If happened that you were on that plane, what would you have done? Share your opinions in the comments box below. If you enjoyed this recap and want to see more thrilling movie breakdowns, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more coming your way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Cinemalyzer.